Words of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says, "Glory to thee, O Lord, who triumphest over every obstacle. Grant that nothing in us may be an impediment to thy word. Lord, grant that everything in us may be ready for thy realization. The world is fighting for its spiritual life, menaced by the rush of hostile and undivine forces. Glory to thee, O Lord, conqueror of every foe. Give us the power to endure and share in thy victory. With always our love and blessings, says our Divine Mother." Sri Aurobindo's Savitri, Book 1, The Book of Beginnings, Canto 5, The Yoga of the Spirit's Freedom and Greatness, page 86. Once more was heard in the still cosmic mind the Eternal's promise to his laboring force, inducing the world passion to begin, the cry of birth into mortality, and the opening verse of the tragedy of time. Out of the depths, the world's buried secret rose. He read the original ukase kept back in the locked archives of the Spirit's crypt, and saw the signature and fiery scene of wisdom on the dim power's hooded work, who builds in ignorance the steps of light. A sleeping deity opened deathless eyes. He saw the unshaped thought in soulless forms, new matter pregnant with spiritual sense. Mind dare the study of the unknowable, life its gestation of the golden child. In the light flooding thought's blank vacancy, interpreting the universe by soul's signs, he read from within the text of the without. The riddle grew plain and lost its catch obscure. A larger lustre lit the mighty page. A purpose mingled with the whims of time. A meaning met the stumbling pace of chance, and fate revealed a chain of seeing will. A conscious wideness filled the old dumb space. In the void, he saw throned the omniscience supreme. A will, a hope immense now seized his heart, and to discern the superhuman's forms, he raised his eyes to unseen spiritual heights, aspiring to bring down a greater world. Words of our Divine Mother, taken from the collective works of our Divine Mother, Volume 3, page 189. Our Divine Mother says, "Never forget that you are not alone. The Divine is with you, helping and guiding you. He is the companion who never fails, the friend whose love comforts and strengthens. Have faith, He will do everything for you. Our Divine Mother talks about our path of integral yoga and says in 1961, to walk on the path, you must have a dauntless intrepidity. You must never turn back upon yourself with this mean, petty, weak, ugly moment that fear is. An indomitable courage, a perfect sincerity, a total self giving to the extent that you do not calculate or bargain, you do not give with the idea of receiving, you do not offer yourself with the intention of being protected, you do not have a faith that needs proofs. This is indispensable for advancing on the path. This alone can shelter you from all dangers. Be sincere, more and more sincere. Sincerity exacts from each one that in his thoughts, his feelings, his sensations, his actions, he should express nothing but the central truth of his being. A new light shall break upon the earth. A new world shall be born. The things that were promised will be fulfilled. Our Divine Mother says about sadhana and life and talks about your life in page 222 and says, I am asking only for the sacrifice of ignorance, unconsciousness, and the limits of the ego. But for what? A marvelous and incomparable gain. Let your life be useful. Let your life be a constant search for the truth, and it will be worth living. Let all your life be entirely and exclusively governed by the Supreme. Let your highest aspiration organize your life. Keep your aspiration ardent, sincere. Never forget that you are the child of the divine. It will prevent you from doing anything unworthy of the divine children. All depends on the attitude of each one and on the sincerity of his approach. All depends on an inner attitude. Our Divine Mother talks about change and says to rectify and to efface both are possible, but in both cases, though in a varying degree, a transformation of the nature of the character is needed. What is wrongly done must be changed in oneself first before one can hope to change the consequence of one's actions. It is only when people truly want their consciousness to be changed that their actions also can be changed. A change of consciousness, and when our consciousness will change, we will know what the change is. That is, a change from hatred into harmony, jealousy into generosity, ignorance into knowledge, darkness into light, falsehood into truth, wickedness into goodness, war into peace, fear into fearlessness, uncertainty into certainty, doubt into faith, confusion into order, defeat into victory. Our Divine Mother says, conversion is the starting point of realization of turning off all the movements of the being towards the divine. Resurrection is the falling off of the old consciousness, followed by the awakening of the true being out of it. New birth is the birth of the true consciousness, that of the divine presence in us. Realization is the goal of our efforts, and that is what we aspire for which we shall strive unceasingly, however long it may take. And the power of realization, with the realization, all obstacles will be overcome. Our Divine Mother says, soar high. Our consciousness is like a young bird. It must learn to use its wings. Take your flight towards the heights, soar very high, and you will discover the great depths. Our Divine Mother says, the day comes when all barriers have fallen within and around us, and we can feel like the bird that opens its wings for an unopposed soar. A being free from all bondages, flying from height to height in a happy seeking for divine transformation. A resplendent sun rises above the horizon. It is your Lord that comes to you. The whole world awakes and stretches in delight at the contact of His glory. As the earth that heaves and opens, as the tree that grows, as the flower that blossoms, as the bird that sings, as the man that loves, let His light permeate you and radiate in an ever increasing and wider happiness, a happiness steadily moving onward as the stars move in heaven. Spiritual atmosphere, light, fluid, clear, transparent, and so clean. Our Divine Mother talks about the divine's help to man and says, our thoughts are still ignorant, they must be enlightened. Our aspiration is still imperfect, it must be purified. Our Divine Mother talks about the divine's help to man and says, our thoughts are still ignorant, they must be enlightened. Our aspiration is still imperfect, it must be purified. Our action is still powerless, it must become effective. Listen silently to the order which comes from the Supreme Lord, and you will have the capacity to carry it out. Know what the divine wants, and you will have mastery. The inner command is more sure than the mental conception. The reign of reason should not end until the coming of the psychic law which manifests the divine will. The power to reject adverse suggestions is a power which comes from the conscious union with the divine. Wisdom cannot be acquired, says our Divine Mother, except through union with the divine consciousness. Integral wisdom is obtained by union with the divine. Like everything that belongs to creation, wisdom is progressive. A bit of wisdom is welcome. In the depths of the inconscient, there also shines the divine consciousness, resplendent and eternal. The divine will acting in the inconscient is all powerful even when we do not know it. Indeed, says our Divine Mother, I am convinced that when the inconscient is conquered, no more conditions will be required. All will be a free decision of the divine grace. Our Divine Mother says the faith that goes to the cosmic divine is limited in the power of its action by the necessities of the play. To get entirely free from these limitations, one must reach the transcendent divine. The only hope is in the capacity of the invisible power. Only the supreme consciousness can have an effect on your karma, and this consciousness is independent above all human consciousness. The supreme power is taking up all the moments. It will turn them into the truth. No effort is needed, no aid from the mind or any of the instruments, even the individual consent is no longer needed. Those who are predestined receive the help of an inner guide. Divine solicitude always is active even when we do not perceive it. Let us understand and receive with gratitude this divine solicitude, so often not understood. Integral solace is that which one can receive only from the divine. Solace is the blessings the divine grants us. Our Divine Mother says, spiritual beauty has a contagious power. Being optimistic is more helpful than being opposite. Sweet Mother, when someone asks me what I have done during all the years that I have been here in the ashram, I say that I have served with devotion and that is my sadhana. I do not understand anything else. It is true that it has taken me a long time to understand this and that I have sometimes been anxious. By the Divine Mother's grace, I understand a little about her service, and in it I feel her force and her love, and I find that it is quite sufficient for me. Isn't it so, Divine Mother? For that, our Divine Mother says, certainly you understand, you act better and better with a consciousness that is progressive towards a total light. A Divine Mother says, my dear child, you have indeed passed from one life to another, but it is in your body that this new birth took place, and now the road is wide open before you for a new progress. Call the Lord always. Be receptive, and all will be all right. Our Divine Mother talks about transformation and says, there is a supreme divine consciousness. We want to manifest this divine consciousness in the physical life. The goal is not to lose oneself in the divine consciousness. The goal is not to lose oneself in the divine consciousness. The goal is to let the divine consciousness penetrate into matter and transform it. The divine consciousness is at work and to transform you. You must open to it in order to let it work freely in you. Our Divine Mother says, of all things, the most difficult is to bring down the divine consciousness into the materialistic world. Must the endeavor be abandoned to that account? Surely not. You belong to this stage of spirituality that needs to reject matter and wants to escape from it. The spirituality of tomorrow will be take up matter and transform it. Truly, spirituality means transforming life. Transformation is the goal of our creation, and the new world is a result of transformation. 3 conditions. A work that has terrestrial progress as its goal cannot be started unless it has the sanction and help of the divine. It cannot endure unless there is a constant material growth which satisfies the will of the nature. It cannot be destroyed prematurely except by the human ill will, which then serves as an instrument of hostile forces to the divine, which are striving to delay as much as possible his manifestation and the transformation of the earth. Our Divine Mother says, one thing you must know and never forget, in the work of transformation, all that is true and sincere will always be kept, and only what is false and insincere will disappear. Our Divine Mother says, each one of you represent one of the difficulties that you have to be surmounted for the transformation. Unless one has an endless patience and an unshakable perseverance, it is better not to start on the way of transformation. Let each suffering pave the way to transformation. Be quiet, gather strength and force not only to do the work but also to achieve the transformation. Perfect integral balance is one who is ready for transformation. The constant remembrance of the divine is indispensable for the transformation. Be simply sincere in your obedience to the divine. This will take you far on the way to transformation. Silence all outside noise, aspire for the divine's help, open integrally to it when it comes, and surrender to its action, and it would effectively bring about your transformation. With the divine love is the supreme power of transformation. With the divine's love is the supreme power of transformation. It has the power because it is for the sake of transformation that it has given itself to the world. And when the day will come for the manifestation of the supreme love, for the crystallized, concentrated descent of the supreme love, that will indeed be the moment of transformation, because nothing will be able to resist that, says our Divine Mother.